this evening to the November 28th City Commission meeting. Our first order of business, we're all going to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a consent agenda tonight. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move.
I'll second.
Approve.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, on our regular agenda, item number 3, we have the 2023 budget amendment. That would be Donna.
Yes. Tonight, we need to have a public hearing for amending the 2023 budget for the golf course fund. We had an we experienced yet again an unprecedented usage of the golf course. Expenses for payroll and commodities and supplies need to be increased due to the overages caused by this increased play. We do have enough additional revenue to cover the expenses, so it's not dipping into our fund balance or anything like that. And I need it increased by $200,000, which would be $65,000 for payroll and $135,000 for commodities and supplies. So if you could just open the public hearing first.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to open the public hearing for the golf course amendment. Anybody have any comments? Going once, twice, 3 times? Well, now we're going to close the public hearing.
Okay.
So now next we consider approval, correct?
Correct.
Just a regular motion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would move we approve the amended budget as presented.
I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes.
Thank you.
Item 4, Community Improvement District, Holiday Inn. That's going to be Rebecca or Chris.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start us off. As you might remember, on October the 24th, you all received a petition to amend the original CID agreement that's in place at the Holiday Inn Express to bring up some improvements and upgrades to the hotel as specified by the flag they hold. They are asking you to increase that maximum reimbursement amount from the 1.2 to 8 million to the 1.785 number. And along with that financial increase, we have in the amended development agreement a provision that 30% of the rooms be set aside as available for that transient guest tax use. That was from you all. The items for tonight would be to open and hold the public hearing for this amendment and then to approve that amendment.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to open up the hearing for this issue for the Holiday Inn. Anybody have any comments on this subject? If not, we're going to close the public hearing. And now, do we have any further discussion at the bench on this item?
I just want to commend staff for working to try and get the transient tax problem solved and a carve out for that. So
yeah, and the developer worked with us on that and obviously agreed to that language. They have a duty to report those numbers to the city, so we'll be able to track and hopefully it works out for all.
I was going to ask you how you'll track that 30%.
Yeah, the duty's on them to report, so city staff will receive those numbers, I think on a quarterly or monthly basis.
Is there any language that would have any sort of an enforcement with that?
We would essentially be able to withhold the CID funds from reimbursement if they don't meet that threshold. Now they could then get back into compliance, but there would at least be some punitive measure if they did not reserve 30% for short-term occupancy.
Okay.
It wouldn't cancel the CID or anything like that, but it does give them that motivation to provide those rooms.
All right.
And this just takes a simple motion?
This would be an ordinance.
Ordinance. Okay.
Okay, that number is 5133-23.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 5133-23.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Okay, item number 5, we're going to conduct a public hearing on a petition to vacate a portion of an alleyway north of the 500 block of North Plum.
Mayor, I can tee this one up. A couple meetings ago, you guys received a petition to vacate an alley, and just for the benefit of the public, this is a platted alleyway that you can see there running east-west, just adjacent to Plum there. The area in orange is what they're asking to be vacated. So it was originally platted as an alleyway, but it was not constructed as an improved alleyway. That entire area has been paved as part of a parking lot. To the east, it's already been vacated, so it doesn't run all the way across the property line. This has gone through city staff. It's been noticed up for a hearing through publication. They're asking that it be vacated. At the conclusion of the public hearing, if you do elect to grant the vacation, city staff would come back at the next meeting with an ordinance. It should be noted that that ordinance will reserve a utility easement throughout the entire area. It just wouldn't be available for alleyway. So obviously someone couldn't construct on that to interfere with utilities, but it forecloses the city's right absent obtaining that property interest again from constructing an alley. We don't intend on doing so, so city staff is okay with it. You do have to conduct another public hearing on this item, though.
Okay, we will open up the public hearing for this alleyway location. And seeing as nobody wants to speak on it, we will close the public hearing. So just a common motion?
Yeah, this would just be a motion to approve the vacation. If you're agreeable, we'll come back and we'll probably just put it on consent agenda with the ordinance, which would reserve the utility easement.
I would move that we approve the vacation.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item number 6 is selection of Realtor services for the Airport Gronau Addition property. Zach?
Yeah, Commission, you approved an RFQ in September, and we had one response for Realtor services from Jeff Lawrence with Lang Real Estate. We have worked with Jeff before on the sale of Building V. He's done a lot of at-risk work before this, but he submitted. He was the only submittal. So the body of work is included in your packet, and we recommend approval of Lang Real Estate.
Did you get any feedback from any other realtors as to why they did not put in their?
No, not as yet. I know from Jeff, his feedback was this is the most he's ever had to do for a listing RFQ. It's new. When we looked to do the RFQ, there was no like template from any other community. This is our first one too for the city of Newton, so kind of the template. But I have not received any feedback as to why they did not submit.
Any thoughts from the bench on this subject?
Is it possible to request or strike up some sort of an agreement with the realtor with regard to how the property, selling it to somebody that will end up using the property, I guess is the way I want to.
Most definitely. This is just an agreement for a listing agreement for him to list it. He will list it however we want to. Working in close contact with Beth at Harvey County Economic Development, anybody who purchases the property, the development agreement will list what our terms are. We're just not going to sell it to somebody just because they want to buy it and hold.
Okay.
And I would add to that, if the city commission were to go forward on this today, it would be instruct staff to negotiate a listing agreement contract with the
Yeah.
realtor.
Right.
We would then bring that back to the city commission for approval, and we would, of course, say, I mean, there's strategic concerns, obviously, in terms of who the city sells that to, the use and those things, so we can make sure that,
Okay.
that's all open.
That sounds good.
Is there,
I think Ken might want.
yeah, Ken, I think you wanted to.
Good evening, everybody. It's good to see all of you. So, my name's Ken Nepper, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the Harvey County Economic Development. First of all, in support of the developers agreement that's about to happen with the Hillsboro Industries project, which is a big win for our community and our county. We are encouraged by the confidence they've placed in us and look forward to having them become part of our community. It's a great thing for us. I also wanted to make a remark about the land that is being considered for sale. While using a realtor we think is fine for selling the 70 acres, we ask to be careful in the balance of having too much ground and suddenly not having enough ground. We have had potential prospects that we use to be able to submit RFPs, requests for proposal, that no longer meet land requirements because we just don't have enough land. Throughout 2023, Beth and our team have sent out numerous requests for information to manufacturers from across the U.S. who are considering our county as a new space for expansion. In many of those, she featured the land that's being considered for sale. If the commission decides to support the sale of the ground, we would just encourage continuing the stipulations and clawbacks for how and when it would be developed. Otherwise, we risk someone potentially purchasing the ground and then sitting on it undeveloped for years. Meanwhile, our city and county might be scrambling to purchase a new piece of ground at a much higher expense than what our current investment is in this ground, all because the need becomes urgent to attract a new business. So I thank you for your work on this project and thank you for consideration of that.
Thank you,
Thank
Ken.
you.
Well, it seems to me with the language that you're referring to, Chris, and Zach, that we certainly do have the controls here of approving or not approving and what we want that to be sold for. So I don't know, does everybody feel comfortable with that approach? Seems to me that would allay the fears of it just sitting there.
Yeah.
I would make the motion to recommend the selection of Jeff Lawrence with Lang Real Estate for Realtor Services.
Second. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item number 7, we're going to consider a development agreement with Flint Hills Industries, DBA Hillsboro Industries. Chris?
Yeah, I can kick this off, and as referenced, this is an exciting agenda item for the city. It's a development agreement with Flint Hills Industries, which is doing business as Hillsboro Industries. This is a 3-party agreement between the city, the county, and Hillsboro Industries for Hillsboro to construct a 56,000 square foot manufacturing facility on East First. The cost to build is approximately $8.1 million, with an additional $2.8 million to furnish and equip. It's estimated to have 50 full-time employees once up and running. The city and county are partners on this. The give would be both the city and county each contributing $125,000 towards certain road improvements on East First in terms of a turn-in lane. The developer, Hillsboro, would cover any overages. They would have the right to obviously look at the bid and the design on the front end. They would construct within 6 months or commence construction within 6 months. It also includes the city's intent to go forward with the IRB process, which include a good faith intent to look at a 10-year, 100% property tax abatement. It's fairly straightforward in that regard. You've seen the development agreement. I understand that Lisa from Hillsboro is here. Beth wasn't able to make it, but obviously she played a big part in this. I don't know if Lisa would like to address you, talk about it from Hillsboro's side, or answer any questions. You can go ahead and take the mic if you like.
Good evening. My name's Lisa Kemp, and I am the Director of Finance at Hillsboro Industries. And to tell you I'm thrilled to be here is probably an understatement. This has been such a journey for us and our company. We have had the kind of growth that most people dream of when you go to work for a small company. So to be a part of it on a personal level for myself has just been amazing. We have been actively looking for a second site location for probably 2 years now. Obviously, the first approach that we took was to look at expansion at our existing facility in Hillsboro. Obviously, that would make more sense from a financial standpoint. We have some limiting factors, and to try to achieve the growth that we know is possible, we knew that pretty quickly that we needed to look beyond Hillsboro. This is an add-on. We don't intend to leave Hillsboro. In fact, we have probably quadrupled our CapEx spend this year, adding enhancements and improvements to the Hillsboro facility. Our intention is to bring the trailer manufacturing to a second location where we can control and build the facility to the size and scale that we need it to be for some of the products that the market is asking of us. And we have exciting things planned for Hillsboro as well. So it's kind of a two-part approach. Newton was a standout community. We looked at several. We probably visited 7 different site locations and actively pursued with other counties. Some of the things that y'all have done here in Newton are just so impressive. And one of the largest is the housing that has gone on. I can tell you personally, everybody talks about housing. We're working on that actively in Hillsboro right now. But to see what y'all have done and the plans that are already taking place is just, it's one thing for a company to bring employees in, but we have to have a place for them to live. And you guys are doing that. And that's huge. I mean, that is huge. You are ahead of the game. Obviously, the population that we're hoping to draw from for employees is a much larger reach than what we're able to do where we're at in Hillsboro. But we're very, very excited. The company's been around since 1968. I'll briefly tell you the history. I've got a handout, so I won't bore you with a lot of the details, but the company's been around since 1968. And Flint Hills Industries was formed in 2004 to buy the assets of Hillsboro Industries from Great Plains Ventures. And so our current owners, there are 4 gentlemen, and they have owned the company since the end of 2004 and are still presently and actively a part of management today. The company has grown. I think we said we quadrupled in there. I think that's probably an understatement. We saw an unbelievable increase in our order backlog for our livestock trailers. If you want a livestock trailer from us, the wait time on that is 100 weeks. So, and this has been consistent since 2020. No sign of letting up, and the market is calling for a larger utility or for a larger livestock trailer that we can't produce today. So, partnering with Newton and coming here, we have land that we've identified. There's 30 acres. It's just directly east of Prairie View on First Street. One of the things that we had talked about and that's in the development agreement was just the need for some better access, some aprons to be able to enter and exit from the property. I believe there was some road work that was talked about, and so as we were working through this, that was one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we were connected with the city and the county on what was happening with First Street. As Chris mentioned, at this point, it's a 56,000 square foot facility. Obviously, we'll have plenty of land and potential for expansion. I think the 50 employees is conservative based on the numbers that I've run. But again, we're very, very conservative company, very conservatively managed. We have 0 debt at the moment, so the industrial revenue bonds will literally be the only debt on the books. We have full support from our banking partner with Equity Bank, and we're all
ready to go. We're ready to break ground and get moving. So, just thank you. Thank you for letting us come present. Thank you for being welcoming to our company. And we are so excited at the thought of being a part of the Newton community.
That's a cheerleader speech. Thank you. We appreciate it. We really do. Look
Thank you.
forward to it. Thank you very much.
County has to approve it.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So if you are agreeable, it would be a motion to approve the development agreement. It should be noted again, 3-party agreement. Hillsboro Industries would also have to approve, and then the county would meet and take it up on December 5th. So that would be our goal. Then a subsequent meeting, we would come back with action on the IRB front.
I was blessed to get to go tour the facility in early September. Just totally impressed with the friendliness of the employees and the hospitality you showed when we were there. You know, all the equipment that you have and the manual operations and the mechanical operations and certainly Newton is blessed that you're interested in us, and we're really happy to work with you. And with that, I'd make the motion to approve the developers agreement.
I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Item number 8, I think we're going to table. Do we need a motion to table that?
Yeah, right. We don't even need to table it. We can just remove it from the agenda. Suzanne was able to negotiate an agreement with the landowner, so we acquired. She received the easement today. We will get it on file, so there's no need to go forward.
Okay. Okay, then item number 9, we're going to receive plans and specifications for Fox Ridge Addition Phase 1 improvements and set the date to receive bids. Suzanne?
Yes, Commissioners. You have, this is plans for Water Street drainage and the intersection of Southeast 10th and the 14th Street connector. So there are multiple different projects all lumped together on this. As you recall, this is for the east half of the development, and you have already approved the sewer plans, and that project is under construction today. So this is the balance of the work to be done for public improvements to serve the area on the east, which is shown on the screen in blue. And that area, this puts in all of the additional Water Street drainage and then the intersection plans. We're bidding it all together to make a large enough project that we can get one prime contractor interested. And so, and that is the way the developer wanted to handle it as well. We are suggesting a bid date of December 21st at 11 a.m., which then precipitates us having a city commission meeting on December 28th. So that we could award bids, assuming we have some good bids to award. So if you have already received all of this work, and all of these improvements would be paid for by petitions. So they'll be petitioned, and the benefit districts will be paying for these. The only thing the city at large pays for is 5.51% of the street improvements, and everything else is bore 100% by the benefit districts. If you are ready to move forward, we are ready, and we would ask that you approve the plans and specifications for the water line, the intersection improvement, the paving, and the drainage for Fox Ridge Addition Phase 1, and set the bid date as suggested.
Well, I will move that we approve and then set the bid date for December 21st at 11.
One second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
And then, let's see, then item number 10 from the Planning Commission. Suzanne, you want to tee that up?
Yes. What you have before you this evening is consideration of a zoning district amendment. The applicant has requested that the property that would be located in the blue on the screen, which is in Fox Ridge Addition, and it's lots 17 through 24, Block 1, lots 1 through 32, Block 2, and lots 3 through 14, Block 3. The property owner and developer is requesting the zoning classification change and be rezoned from an R1, which is a single-family dwelling district, to an R2, which is a two-family dwelling district. The Planning Commission approved the recommendation to you of the rezoning change at their November 6th meeting. And just so that you have some feel for this, an R2 zoning provides for specific activities could be allowed there for, they could be a single-family dwelling, it could be townhome dwellings, two-family dwellings like a duplex, residential design manufactured homes, childcare centers, churches, and other places of worship, daycare homes, historical sites and structures, libraries, schools, and museums, public parks and playgrounds, rights-of-way, etc. You have lots of attachments that were in your packet, and the Planning Commission approved 6-0 to recommend to you to approve the zoning change. Last week, it should be noted that the city was served with a protest petition. I believe that was included in your packet as well. And this is according to state statute, the Newton zoning ordinances, any decision of the Planning Commission to change the zoning designation of a property is subject to a protest petition. Under those provisions, if 20% of the ownership within the notice area files a written protest, a supermajority vote is required. And the city attorney and the city clerk have reviewed the petition and have concluded that it is valid in terms of being timely and having the requisite number of landowners attached to the same. So if you are wanting to approve this after hearing everyone this evening, 4 of you would need to approve this zoning change. Okay, that would be your supermajority. The applicant, Brian Legale, and his representative, Chris Bohm, is his engineer from Garver. They are present if you would like to hear from them, and you may have others in the audience that would like to speak to this as well.
I think it would be good that we hear from the developer to start with.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commission members. My name is Chris Bohm from Garver. I represent Brian Legale, the developer of this property. He is supposed to be here. He's stuck at a train, so he's trying to make his way up. So I'll go ahead and describe it. If there are others who want to speak, that's great. I'm hoping he'll be here before we wrap it up. So if I could have that courtesy of a rebuttal at the end or just a sentence or two to introduce him if he's here, that would be fantastic. Mr. Legale has already zoned the east half, the one for which you just approved the petition projects a moment ago. And it's very similar in nature to the zoning request for this west side. The perimeter on the east side that abuts any existing single family is single family. The yellow, so on this map, the yellow shaded lots in Fox Ridge Addition will remain R1, so single family zoning. Interior to the site, the blue, that's the request for the R2. The request for the R2 is brought forth by the market. He's had very strong sales of the lots, which aren't even yet developed with their improvements on the east side. So he would like to move that same concept over to the west side. The R2 allows 2 things for him to do: build duplexes, if that's what the market is demanding at the time, and he can always revert to single-family homes if the market would shift at some point for single-family. At Planning Commission, we had originally asked for R3 zoning, which was similar to the zoning on the east side that will be developed. That was to help facilitate a future apartment complex on that larger lot. At Planning Commission, they asked if we could back down to the R2, which only allows the single family or 2-family homes, and we agreed to that, so that's the approval. I know there's been a demand for housing in Newton, as was witnessed by the previous speaker, And Mr. Legali is committed to providing that with this development. And I'd stand for any questions, and again, just ask for a minute or two at the end for a rebuttal.
On the sale of these lots, are these for owner-occupied housing, or are they primarily for rentals?
I'm sure it'll be a mix. I know he'll have some rentals in there. I'm assuming he'll have some buyer, some home occupied. Single family more than likely will be owner occupied.
I don't have anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll open it up for anybody in the audience that would like to speak to this issue.
John Van Meter representing the Covington Greens housing development, which is just north of the east half that is currently with sewer construction in the process of development. We filed a petition with the clerk that showed 64% opposed, and that would be along the houses at Country Club Drive and Kansas Avenue. There's 13 homes there total. 2 are unoccupied. We have 7 signatures of those property owners, which is 64% opposed. We also have numerous signatures opposed from the Covington Greens development. And asking for signatures for the petition, the homeowners felt that, and this is just the responses I received in visiting with our neighbors, that they felt that they missed the boat on opposing the apartments and the R3 developments in the east half that's currently under development and construction. The homes on the outside edge, current homes, are lovely homes. I realize that the R1 surrounding those, just directly in their backyards, if you will be single-family homes. But the question is, are they the type of homes that are currently there? Are they $100,000 homes? Are they $400,000 homes? Nobody seems to know, nor do we know who to ask. Perhaps our distinguished gentleman could answer that question as well. With the petition that's been submitted, it is our desire that you vote against the R2 designation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mike Lloyd, 1102 Wedgwood Place, also live in the neighborhood. And I also signed the petition, and so I voice in requesting that the commission not approve the changing of the designation, the zoning designation from R1 to R2. And as John mentioned, the area homeowners do have questions and some concerns. And we've spoken about our concerns on the east side, and we know that's a done deal. However, our concerns are similar to what the concerns we had on the east side as well. The density of the housing. We also have questions as to possibly the large number of rentals there as well. And we understand the need for housing in Newton, and it's great news that Flint Hills Industries is coming in and that housing can be provided. But it's a matter of how we provide that housing. Is it going to be housing that's attractive and will attract people to locate? the Fox Ridge Golf Course, I mean, I've lost thousands of golf balls over there when I played golf. And after I quit playing golf, I spent a lot of time walking our dogs over there. And it's a very scenic area of property. Lots of native trees. I'm glad that at least the pond is going to be preserved. But you hate to see that scenic area, and it could be a scenic housing development as well. But the current plans don't really present that. It's going to be high-density housing. And as John said, we have concerns as to the quality of the housing. If there are a large number of rentals, which has been expressed to us that that's a very real possibility, who will be managing those rentals? Will it be available for any person to buy up a bunch of those properties and manage them? You know, hate to say slumlords, but that's a possibility. So I do express concerns that a lot of the other homeowners have about the project. How it goes forth, and what the final, I know that, like I said, there's nothing we can do about the east side, but the west side, we'd like to at least see some quality preserved over there, some scenic attraction over there, some of the landscape preserved, some of the trees preserved. But as it's presented now, that doesn't look like that's going to happen. So, anyway, again, I hope that the commission does not approve this amendment and keeps it as R1. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Steve Herdler. I reside at 1121 Wedgwood Place in Covington Greens. As John and Mike both echoed, we missed out on that first part. We were told we could state our opinions and it would be heard, but it apparently wasn't. I do appreciate that you've knocked that, or requested the builder to not go ahead with R3. Our concern is the density, like they said, of the population in that area. We border that. There's a small hedgerow between our property and theirs, but that could end up being a transit area all the way through Rolling Hills, I think it is, to First Street. And that would be a problem for all the property owners. Additionally, when I've seen the duplexes go up, we lived in Derby. They expanded rapidly. They put duplexes down there and they painted them all the same color, gray, with white trim, and they look like trailer parks. And if that's where you want to live, that's fine, but they aren't appealing at all, the duplexes I've seen. There are a couple maybe on Kansas that have been put in a subdivision area there by the road that look appealing, but they're up for rent all the time. So nobody's a permanent resident in those areas. That's my concern. That's why we moved to Newton. Small town. It was on that golf course at the time. It was kind of a nice, quiet refuge. And I feel that the east development's going to be bad enough. But if you can keep the traffic off to the east, that would be great. But once you put all the R2 in the west side, especially of a thoroughfare, 2 or 3 different ways, that concerns me. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
And I'm probably the last one to speak. My name is Ellen Herdler. I'm Steve's wife, and Steve and I and John both live adjacent to this new project. And I kind of oppose the fact that we didn't say something, because when they told us that there was going to be a hearing about this proposal, the Covington Greens community came in full force and said we don't want that. And we are pretty much overturned and told that it's better to move up than out. So we were really good about allowing that to happen. We also were told, and maybe I was misunderstood, but we are also told, the attorney that was present at the time also told us that the east side would not be built on, and I know that I was told that the plans that you got always had the building on it, but the east side would not be built on, and it would just be the west, and then that changed. And then now we got another change going. So that is my frustration. So my push is, if they're making all these changes, then we can put a walking path all the way around the community, for the community. I think that Newton should take this opportunity to put in something around that community as well. So my push is not to have this new change, but also to push back a little bit and say, do something for the community. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you. I'll just finish up. Mr. Legali apparently couldn't make it tonight, so I'm sorry. You know, Mr. Legali is going to invest millions of dollars in building on this acreage. You know, a new starter home, single-family starter home is $350,000. Duplexes are about $400,000 to build one on average for both sides. And some of those perimeter single-family homes will be highly attractive given the natural landscaping and just the site in general. But to have a strong market for what he's trying to do, he needs a variety of different home types available. And it's just different these days in what people are looking for. Many are looking for the convenience of a duplex, two-family home. And Mr. Legali has management agencies that run his communities when he has rentals, and he manages them very well. He's been very successful at this. So to provide the city of Newton with a variety of market options, especially as you see growth in your community, I think is important. And I just please ask you to consider that. I might also note this has been platted, so the subdivision process was done some months ago. So it's simply a zone change request for the lots that already exist. So in regard to changes of streets or sidewalks or anything such as that, that's been set through the platting process. Although I'll make mention, in Newton, there'll be 5-foot walks on both sides of all streets. So that's a requirement of platting. So there'll be plenty of walk access around within the confines of the community.
Sidewalks or road?
Sidewalks, yes.
So.
And I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a question for some of the folks. Do you live in the area further north?
Just
So
north
you-
of the complex, but to the
Rebecca.
The very top right,
northeast area.
Okay.
Up in Woodwood, yeah.
right in there, yeah.
Well, I just wondered, because I was looking at the list of some of the properties where this is going to be very close to, and I'm not seeing or hearing that some of those folks are you representing them as well? So, I mean, I'm seeing just names of those who are in those lots right close to these properties that are highlighted.
The names that, the addresses that say Country Club, the ones that say, like, there's 721 Country Club, 709, those would be along the north side there.
Yes, right.
And then there's
Okay.
a couple of them, well, there are two on Kansas there that would be backing up to those. And then anybody that's Wedgwood would be over north of the east half. Pardon? Didn't?
Yeah, I don't,
I don't
Oh,
think,
the handwritten one is what I'm talking about, the petition that was turned in.
yeah, the petition
If
is
you're
in the
looking
back.
at this that has security title on it,
Yes, but that's.
yeah,
I'm
that's,
seeing, okay.
that was the notification that went out.
Yes.
That's what, that was mailed out about the rezoning, and these folks were given the notification.
That's controlled by statute and by
Yeah.
zoning
Right,
code in
right.
terms of notification. Now, anyone can be heard and anyone can
Okay.
sign a petition.
I'm seeing. This is the petition that should be. It was, I couldn't get this to open up. It was like this.
Got it.
That's
Okay.
not in the packet.
This is. well,
They
it
issued
is.
an updated packet.
Yeah, it's in the
Like
update.
5
It's in the
5
update.
PM,
Okay.
so you have to re-download.
Shows up as
Okay,
yellow, I
okay.
think.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't reload mine. Okay.
So we know that the lots have already been platted, so there's going to be houses there. So the opportunity to redesign the plat and the layout of where those structures are going to be has passed. But we do know that there's 5-foot sidewalks on each side of the road. So while it's not a dedicated walking path that you guys had so much advantage for using the old golf cart paths to go walk amongst the trees with the dogs and each other, so it's not quite a push on that, but it's something, not having to walk in the roads, so having the sidewalks is good. So really, it comes down to duplexes or no duplexes. I do like that we had the concerted effort between city staff, the planning commission, the developer to insulate the existing homes by ensuring that the R1s backed up to them. That was good forethought, and I'm glad that is not even being considered. I don't know, it's a tough decision. Sure.
There were 4 of us attended the planning commission meeting a couple weeks ago when this was considered to present to the commission. We stated our objection, and as you know, they voted overwhelmingly to recommend the R2. That is our objection.
Well, I would agree that it's a difficult decision. And if I were living in the same neighborhood as all of you folks that are represented here, I get it. We, the 5 of us, also have to look at both sides, and, you know, we've been talked at, and I don't want to say yelled at, but it's been pushed on us that, you know, we need to do something about our housing here in Newton, and not just one kind of housing, but a variety of kinds of housing, because, you know, even an entry-level home, a lot of people can't afford a $300,000 home, and so we have to consider both sides, and it is a tough decision. And I understand both sides of it, and I know that, you know, with some of our industry getting ready to ratchet up here, and there's going to be more jobs here, and as presented tonight, of one of them, that we need more homes, more options, not just one type. So, yeah, it's a tough thing. But understand, however, if we vote, if we oppose what you folks are representing tonight, that doesn't mean we're opposing you. We have to consider all sides in this equation, because we very much support you as part of our community. You're really important to us. And I think all 5 of us really feel that. I mean, we care very deeply about Newton, or we wouldn't be here.
Well, 64% is a big number. I mean, we don't typically see, at least in my years on the commission, I don't recall dealing with that large of a response to something. It's too bad that he can't be here, because I'm looking at that very bottom section down there of the blue, which is actually right behind or north of those trailers. I'm wondering, would he even be willing to consider that area if he was going to do duplexes? Might be. And trust me, I'm not a builder. I'm just looking and thinking ahead and wondering because duplexes are a need for people that, especially their income, where they might be between something where they can't afford a nicer home, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. A duplex it meets the need, and they maybe don't want an apartment. They can afford a home-like place to live in, but they can't afford the bigger home. So I wish he was here so we could ask him that.
Is there anybody from Kansas Avenue or Country Club Drive here to speak this evening? That's my concern. So we have this 64%. That's, I'm not familiar with the development up in Wedgwood. What's that called? Covington Greens. That's the most removed from this development, space-wise. But it's the most vocal.
The homeowners with the most sway are those along Kansas Avenue and Country Club Drive, since they're within 200 feet of the development.
Right.
Covington Greens, except clear on the east edge, there could be a few of those lots, homes currently there, that are within 200 feet. I'm not certain. However, those folks signed the petition.
And this is the petition, is
That's
that
it.
right?
That is it.
So I'm just looking, most of these homes are on Country Club Drive, Wedgwood. I'm seeing,
I think there's 3 on Kansas Avenue
Yes.
of the 6 that are there,
yeah,
which is
so-
50% on that strip.
And I know someone that lives on Kansas Avenue, but I don't see their signature on here.
Right.
And
Well, when I went out for the petition, there were some folks that weren't home or didn't answer the door. But that petition is the feeling of the neighborhood. And I understand, Leroy, that we need homes, but we also need single-family homes.
Suzanne, do you have ready access to how many single-family homes are on the east side? R1, on the east, phase 1?
No, Chris, do you know how many were single-family?
trying to count right now. That entire cul-de-sac on the east side, up Suzanne, or whoever has.
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
The
keep going
cul-de-sac
to the
is
east.
all
That whole cul-de-sac is single-family,
single-family.
as are the homes that move around the pond to about the same distance as the yellow shading there.
About there.
So similarly, a buffer of single-family to single-family was proposed and accepted with the zone change case for the east side.
So like the homes on the pond, those ought to be pretty nice homes, I would think.
I would imagine so.
Like the lots
They're beautiful lots,
bigger.
yes.
And it still allows for the same buffer zone that we have there on Country Club in Kansas.
Yeah.
And I wish you were here. I don't know what he did. Maybe he's got developments in several towns. He may have gone to the wrong city. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we
so.
don't know what training.
I apologize. It could be a train in a different town, so I apologize. And I wish I could answer your other questions, but I can't speak for him. That's why we went from R3 to R2, because he wasn't here at that meeting, and I wanted to wait and make sure it was what he was agreeable with. And R2, yes, he is.
You made a comment earlier about $350,000 homes. That's nice for this area. I mean, you said starter home. I would even say that that's not starter
That's
home
not
in this
starter
market.
home in-
No, I mean, starter home in this market is 150. So if they're 150 or above, they're going to be nice homes. I mean, that's just a fact for Newton in this area. I mean, I think about our neighborhood, and our neighborhood is pre-pandemic was 150 to 175, and they're nice homes. We have zero complaints about the neighborhood we live in, so I'm in support of making a change to this, whatever we need to do to go through that process.
What is fully built out, there's 4 entrances? Is that how I see that, Suzanne?
There would be
Kansas
3.
Country Club, Beer Can Alley, and then there's the potential of that one?
A potential one to the
Southern.
south, to the property that lies to the south.
That one will be a while.
Right.
Because the property's owned by somebody else, and they would have to decide to develop it to tie in. So eventually Southeast 10th will go all the way through from the connector to Kansas.
Yes.
And then Country Club will tie in. I
Right there.
don't know what that north-south street is. Right there.
Fox Ridge.
Fox Ridge, okay.
I'm sure that the Southeast 10th off of the connector in Kansas will have the most traffic. Country Club will have it. That one really, fire, I'm sure, likes having access via another route into that
Oh,
development.
yes.
So,
There'll also be I mentioned it at the Planning Commission, where it crosses the green space between the east and west side, the road, Southeast 10th. There'll be a new box bridge there that's a 100-year storm clearing bridge. So there'll be, if the fire department or EMS or the residents need access during a large flood event, that will be a dry crossing. So Country Club Drive can flood in larger storm events now. So that would even allow the folks who live up along Wedgewood to come through on Fox Ridge and cross at that new structure and have access to Kansas Avenue. So you wouldn't, it helps from a flood access perspective, but that's a plating issue, not a zoning issue. But I just thought I'd point it out.
So do we need to receive the recommendation? Have we done that yet?
That's the first step, right?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Before you consider further, I would request, since the developer is not here, that you table this issue until the next meeting. Let him put his 2 cents in worth.
Well, I'll make a motion that we receive the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
We can do that, can't we? But we don't necessarily.
Sure.
It's within your purview.
Yeah.
It's an option. It's
Okay.
not a requirement.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Next item is, we're going to consider an ordinance.
5134-23.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 5134-23.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I thought we were going to consider tabling this. At least that came up, or what?
You asked the question if it was an option. It is absolutely an option, not a requirement. And then there was a
Okay.
motion to approve the ordinance, which would effectuate the zoning 2 and R2. If there's a discussion there on tabling it, you would want to make a motion to table it.
So,
So,
are we not,
so we just had a vote, a 5-0 vote for the ordinance.
It sounds like
Well,
maybe a 4-1 vote,
or what,
but
4-1? Okay.
I thought I understood, or at least maybe I misunderstood, that would we not want to give the developer?
I'm not interested in tabling it. I was interested in passing the ordinance tonight to move forward with it.
Well, I'm wondering if we are interested in possibly talking to the developer to get his thoughts before we move, or is that not?
Well, I think we just passed it. I'm comfortable with his attorney being here this evening and
I'm
talking about it.
comfortable with his representation.
So am I. I also understand what you all are talking
Yeah.
about.
I do too.
I think we're gonna want a clear record, Commissioner Valentine, I guess, at least on your vote. It does require a supermajority, which is 4 or 5 votes, so it would pass either way, but I think for the record, we would want to know your vote. Assuming you want to go forward with that vote, you could ask someone to withdraw the motion and rediscuss that, or have a motion to table it, but it doesn't sound like there's support for that. So we just need to make sure we make a clear record on it.
Okay, may I offer an explanation then for my vote? I voted that way and I will keep it. I'm definitely for the housing, the project, don't get me wrong. I really liked the consideration of listening to the developer. Not that you didn't have anything to share, but you yourself wanted him to be here. And I thought that would be a good idea for him to have an opportunity to offer his thoughts. Since I consider 64% a fairly large number, I just felt like it was worth hearing the developer. I will keep my vote the way it is, but I want it to be known. I totally support this project. I really do. I'm excited about it, for the jobs that will come, for housing that will be provided, but I'm going to keep my vote because we don't have the developer here. So my vote is a no vote on the ordinance.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 11, executive session under attorney-client to discuss a pre-litigation matter.
And we do have, sorry,
Shall
Mayor.
we do, well, there's nobody signed up for citizens forum. Should we do a go-around before we do the executive
Yeah,
session?
there'll be no action after either, so
Okay.
whatever you prefer.
Let's go around the horn. Start with
City did a great job with snow removal. It's nice to see that the equipment still
I
works.
have nothing.
It's been so long since we've had to remove any snow, and, yeah, and I appreciate you keeping us in the loop, Suzanne, about all that stuff, so.
Sure.
And thank you, Hillsboro Industries. Welcome to Newton.
I would offer my thanks, and I think I did, with regard to the street crews and keeping the snow. We take these things for granted, and so it was really nice to be able to get out and get where you need to get, and those streets were cleared. So we're very thankful. So hats off to those folks. for
They
the
did a
good
great job.
Yes, they did.
They really did.
No, thanks.
I have 2 things. One, I would tell you that we are moving forward with design on the reconstruction of Spencer Road south of First Street. We're having a lot of pavement failures there. We've talked about that. It's in your CIP. And so we're moving forward with that. Also want to remind you that Thursday at noon is the grand opening of the stormwater wetlands.
Yes.
Dress warm.
And you're ordering a 70-degree day for this, sunshine, no
No
wind?
guarantees.
Right.
So would you just offer real quickly a bit about the parking?
Yes. There's only about, I think it's 13 to 15 parking stalls there at the wetlands. And if those are full, you can park across the street at Rhodes or at Source of Light. They have
Okay.
opened up their parking lots for us for that day only.
Okay, roads.
I think normally you're not going to see a ton of people at the wetlands all at once. This is just a special time.
No, sir.
Yeah, I have 2 things. I want to say thanks, of course, to everybody that went out and plowed snow. I didn't get to see it, though, until Sunday morning about 8 o'clock, because I didn't leave my house from Friday night until Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. So, but by the time I did leave, though, they were good. I was impressed. I mean, I'm not impressed like I was surprised, but just impressed with the amount of work on a Saturday, a holiday weekend. And the kids didn't even miss school, so it was good. Kids got to go back to school yesterday morning. But then I just came from, I was almost late because I didn't want to leave the good food at the So Shine Foundation Gala tonight. And so went over there for a little bit and had supper with some friends, and they were starting a concert and came here. So I'm going to miss it. I was hoping to make it back before 8, but I won't, so that's okay. But just a reminder, there's just so much good that happens in our community every day that we oftentimes forget. We all know norms. We all know the after-school program at the porch. But So Shine is not something that's well known. But just want to thank that family, the Lakey family, and everybody. So many people I know that are friends of mine are involved in that organization, and just say thanks to all of them and the work they do in our community.
Yeah, I mean, the snow seems to be the headline of the week and everything. If you're going to have that type of snow, it's great to have it on a Saturday and not on a Sunday or Monday. I got to see it first thing in the morning when I went down south to take care of my parents' house, and I was really impressed with the teams that had done everything that they did early. And then when I came back through town, it was just the sun helped them and really had their back on that. And then Monday morning, it was like nothing had happened. So it was really great. First responders, thank you for responding to those accidents and everything. And I hope the outcomes are good on those. But we were thinking of you guys out in the weather, keeping people safe. Yes, yes, yes. You'll have to get your snow rodeo thing that you do each year up and going again. Thank you.
Well, I would have to say I'm not just a little bit biased, but I was in Wichita from Friday afternoon till Sunday afternoon with my family and most of my grandkids. But anyways, I had to drive all over Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm sorry, our city did a much better job with the snow removal than they do in Wichita. So hope nobody's listening from Wichita tonight or don't get offended about that. But I think we did a fabulous job. The other thing that I want to say is I think we have such a respectful team here, the 5 of us. I just want to commend each of you, just like this issue tonight. This is a tough issue. Look, I get it. If I was living there, I'd have similar feelings. I know that. And yet, you know, the 5 of us are tasked with looking ahead. 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and so we have to make those tough decisions. And we can disagree, and it's okay. And we do that, but I think very respectfully. So I want to thank all of you. I think you're the best team ever to work with, and I appreciate that very much. Okay, shall we get on with executive sessions?
Yeah, and again, back-to-back executive sessions, we'll come back and make a new motion for the second, but we don't anticipate any action at the conclusion of either executive session.
How much time do you want to start
I
with?
think we can be quick, maybe 8:20 to start for the first one. Reconvene.
I'll move that the city commission recess into executive session as the first one is stated and resume here at 8:20.
1 second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Do we have, how much time you need for the next one?
I think 8:30 is plenty of time.
8:30?
My list is this long.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Aye?
Aye.
All right, we're there. Don't forget this.
Okay, thank you.
It worked just fine. Okay, we are adjourned.